Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. So we all know coaching matters, but holy shit. You give Derek Carr, Kubiak's kid, Gary Kubiak's kid, the coach, the coordinator. First of all, the motions, the shifting. It's a totally different offense. I watched the Jets-Titans. Nat Hackett's offense. I mean, Aaron's one of the smarter guys in the league playing quarterback. Very little motion, very remedial, doesn't really challenge Aaron intellectually. Now, I think the Saints have more talent outside of quarterback. They got more players. But I'm watching the Saints offense against Dallas. And we can blame Dallas, but they are moving all over the field. Jesus. It's amazing what happens when you have a competent quarterback. I'm not asking for great. Baker, Derek, you protect him, and you have a coordinator who can change stuff up. And I'm watching the Saints today. They averaged 7.7 yards a play. They were 50% on third down. I mean, Derek Carr was only, what did I have here? 11 of 16. They never threw the football. It was all motions, and it was like, that's when I buy into a team, when it's beyond. It's not just that they're scoring. This coach, this coordinator, it's a little like Detroit last year, though they're not as good. At some point, they're just going to score points if they play inside or play in good weather. Your thoughts on that game?
Well, the MVP race right now is Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield fighting it out. So, I'm probably dead wrong on the Broncos, but I pounded the drum leading into the start of the season on the Saints. Yeah. I liked them to win the division. I liked them to make the playoffs. They went 9-8 last year, and for half the season, their offense was atrocious. They have a good defense. They have really good players on defense.
Yes.
Dennis Allen, some of his stats against the spread and stuff, I get it. But defensively, everyone in the NFL sings his praises. He's good. Kubiak, the Shanahans and Kubiak might as well be one family, right? Gary played for Mike, then Kyle worked for Gary. One of the Kubiaks now works for Kyle. They're all one in the same. That offense does two things well. Makes it easy on the quarterback,
yes,
and features the running back. Well, no team has more invested in their running back room than the Saints, and Alvin Kamara is an excellent player.
Yes.
And he's perfect for the scheme. Why? He's a good zone runner, and he's an excellent pass catcher. What does that offense like to do? Throw the ball to the running back.
It's a lot like why McCaffrey is so unbelievable with San Francisco.
They're very similar players. Christian's a little more physical, I would say, between the tackles. Yeah. But Alvin Kamara, when he's right, is a Pro Bowl level guy. And today I would imagine he's the offensive player of the week. I mean, I think he had 17 touchdowns today. But Kubiak, and you never know, because when these guys work for McVay, when they work for Sean Payton, when they work for Kyle, they don't actually call the plays. But like when you tell me his name's Kubiak, so yeah, I would imagine he's going to know the offense pretty well. He's been brilliant. I saw someone that covers the Saints today tweeted like he might get a head coaching job before the season's even over. I mean, he has been. Their defense was awesome. The Cowboys didn't have a shot today, and obviously Dak throws a couple bad picks, but that's just they ran into a buzzsaw.
Yep.
And when Derek has had no one dealt with more instability for the first 9 years of his career. The team literally moved, yet they stayed in a spot. They ran through coaches. They had the Gruden situation. Derek has seen a lot of shit. And by the end of the year last year, he looked pretty good.
He did.
And now the offense, they have good wide receivers. They have a good running game. They drafted, I think, the tackle from Oregon State who literally could play all five positions.
Yeah.
They're just, right now, they are, to me, the Bucs are good too. Like that division, I think most people just took a giant dump on. Like it sucks. Actually, they got two pretty good teams and two quarterbacks who, that have a lot of talent around them, can play well. But the Saints, I liked them a lot. They've been better than I thought.
Yeah, and I also think if you consider Derek Carr a B to a B plus quarterback, which I think Baker is, which I think Geno's closer to B minus. But if you look at the Saints roster between, I think Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis are the two guys running personnel. They don't miss on a lot of draft picks. John, if you start writing, I mean, Demario Davis, one of the best linebackers in the game.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he's a thumper. They got 8 to 10 Pro Bowl level players. We just know the Niners players, right? Like they're such a national team. The Saints aren't. They're wildly popular in Louisiana, big in the South. But Breeze leaves. who's Dennis Allen? They're not a big national team anymore. You watch that game against Dallas. To me, that wasn't about the Cowboys. It was about the O-line, Kamara, the play call. Again, Derek Carr was 6 of 13 on third downs. He didn't throw the ball. They didn't ask him to do anything. It's very Brock Purdy. It's a really easy lift when you're throwing on 2nd and 4 and 3rd and 1.
The other thing is they have some more similarities than people would realize with the Steelers over the last couple of years. Quarterback play has been really atrocious.
Yeah.
If you get good quarterback play and you have a good defense and you have some skill guys, like you're going to be pretty good. And like the other thing they have going for them is they get 2 cupcake games against
Yeah.
the Panthers. Those are 2 wins. They're going to be confident playing Atlanta and Tampa just because they play them all the time. I feel even stronger. Like I'm not saying this is a Super Bowl team, but like if Derek stays healthy, that team can't win 12 games. I mean, they got high end players at a lot of key positions. That was today because you never know when you beat the crap out of an awful team. And I liked him today. I liked him a lot +6. I thought that number was a pretty crazy. They came out today like they were going to the Super Bowl, did they not? Like that thing was
Well,
over quick.
I'll tell you, the wise guys love Dallas. Dallas in the regular season is an unbelievable home favorite. They are very much Tyson in his prime. They can lose to somebody. They can lose to a Holyfield or a Lennox.
Yeah.
But you put them as a favorite, they knock you out. Like Dallas is a great home team against usually. I mean, the Saints don't beat good teams the last 3 years. They crushed Dallas.
I mean, I think Kubiak has thrown his hat into the ring really, really quick as a guy that's obviously now on everyone's radar. The one thing is when you play Zimmer, he's going to blitz a lot. And it
Yes.
happened to Kyle today with Flores, who's very similar. If you call the right play on the blitz, you're going to get a huge explosive play. And that happened over and over early in that game, and then it snowballed. We're on the opposite side with the 49ers. He was hitting the blitz, but they were getting home and sacking the quarterback, and they didn't hit the play. But Kubiak, I mean, we're only 2 weeks in, but he's an early front runner for assistant of the year right now. That's for damn sure.
Let's talk Niners. You know them well. My favorite bet of the week was Minnesota at home getting points. I think Kevin O'Connell is, I said this last week, he's Kevin Stefanski before everybody realized how good Stefanski was dealing with all that Cleveland nonsense, and he just continues to put out good game plans. Again, they didn't ask a ton of Darnold. 17 of 26, 270 yards. He had 5 rushes. Fred Warner made a great play because he's Fred Warner on an interception. Like, that's not a great interception, but again, Fred, that wouldn't have been picked off by 95% of the linebackers in the league.
Might be the only guy.
But it was a great play. But what I looked at was the time of possession, 35 minutes to 25. Minnesota controlled the football. I mean, it could have been out. If you take away the fumble by Minnesota and the great Fred Warner pick, John, this could have been a blowout. It could have been a bloodbath.
The Niners got worked. I mean, they got killed. That was, and he has 1 or 2 of these a year. I mean, it was a rough day for Kyle. Special teams, they had a punt blocked.
Yep.
Flores was taking him to the woodshed, getting free guys all over Purdy. Purdy had a bad pick, could have probably thrown another one.
Yeah.
Defensively, they had some errors, but the story of the game and one of the stories of the early year, Sam Darnold. I mean, that throw he made, the touchdown.
Oh, Jesus.
Justin Jefferson. I mean, is 70 yards in the air. I mean, you see the arm strength, but the accuracy. And you think back to the Fred Warner play. I think those are the plays early on in his career where he just kind of melts.
Yes.
And to me, whatever happened last year with Kyle, and they talked about it with Purdy, the maturation of just learning how to study, he just kind of feels like a different guy. And I think we have an example with Baker Mayfield. Some people mature at slower rates, whether it be football wise or personally, and physically his talent. Obviously, the touchdown to Jefferson is going to be all over social media. He made some other throws on third down that were just like, I mean, he was slicing it up. He was the better quarterback on the field today. He was awesome. And then there was another play, his second touchdown, while it was wide open. Those are plays maybe early on in his career. Maybe he airmails, maybe he freaks out. Like he just feels very, very under control. And I didn't think the Vikings were going to be very good, even though I thought it would probably go pretty well for him. You start 2-0, all of a sudden, there's a path for you to get to 9-10 wins. I mean, and that home field advantage, right? You'd have to say that Minnesota has one of the better ones in the league. And that's, like you said, that wasn't just a win. You're playing the Niners, who's coming off a short week. That wasn't ass kicking.
Ass kicking. I mean, if you don't get that fumble, And again, I mean, Fred Warner made a great pick, and a big hit causes a fumble, but this could have been a 3-touchdown
The score
blowout
does not reflect the
at
game.
all. I mean, the time of possession is insane. And I also think it's funny with Darnold. You mentioned he's under control. What's interesting when I watch Sam, it feels like he sped his delivery up, yet he's more under control, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
his feet aren't nervous, his body's great, but it feels like O'Connell, who was a quarterback in the league, the knock on him. Oh, what Steve Keim told me on Friday on FS1. I said, "Did you like Darnold coming out?" And he goes, I didn't really like him. I didn't like his mechanics. He was too slow. Totally fair criticism. And Sam's a playmaker like Mahomes. He's going to throw bad picks. All these guys that run around throw bad picks. I mean, Jesus, Mahomes has 2 or 3 terrible picks this year. I can live with that. But Sam also 5, 6 different times takes off. And what Sam's also done, I think he sped his delivery up a little bit. His feet are under control. But I think O'Connell gives him, and I've heard guys talk about this. Matt Hasselbeck talks about this. Sam looks like O'Connell gives him clear things, like he drops and he immediately is staring down a second later, staring down at a play. His head's not moving all over the place. I feel like he's really intentional. I guess that's the way to say it. Like, I don't feel like he's out of control. Even if he moves in the pocket, he feels in control.
Yeah, they mentioned this on the broadcast. He must have said to them that one thing he did last year and he's carried into this year is tying his feet with his upper body because clearly that was really out of whack. And that's where you get throwing, you get to throw a lot of picks. Like it's one thing Mahomes is brilliant at, despite him kind of moving all over the place. He can always set himself when he needs to make a throw. That's why he's pretty accurate going to his left, going to his right. And like you said, Sam is a playmaker because he has a massive arm. But if you can, one problem was early in his career, he couldn't hit layups.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we'll talk about Anthony Richardson. If you can't do the basic stuff, you have no chance because you're only going to hit the occasional sweet 60-yard bomb.
Right.
You have to hit 2nd and 7, the out route, hit the guy in stride to move the chains. And that's what Sam did all day today. And he did last week against the Giants. I mean, he looks like a really solid player who's going to start in this league for a while. I had the thought today, like, if he's going to play like this all year, I know you just invested in a player, but you just let this guy walk if he's going to play at this level. It's one thing to do it against the Giants. It's another thing to light up the 49ers like a Christmas tree. And so if he does this as the season goes on to the Lions, the Packers, I do. It's not just like you just let him walk. I mean, that's not usually the way the NFL works. You kind of deal with what you got and you just kind of ride it and figure it out later.
Now for a segment called Making It Look Easy, brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Today, Sam Darnold made it look easy, 268 yards, 2 TDs, ran around in a win against his former team, the Niners. Just like Sam made it look easy, Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to submit a claim. They have over 100 offices nationwide, more than 800 lawyers, with over $15 billion recovered from over 300,000 clients. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years. If you're ever injured, go to forthepeople.com/Colin or dial #529 to check out America's largest injury law firm. Winning in the NFL is hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Yeah, it's interesting for the Niners, too, because the Rams got dusted. Good coaches and quarterbacks who get humiliated almost always play well the following week, and the Rams get their left tackle back, which was a huge problem. And I don't know Bosa's situation physically. Now, McCaffrey's
He was fine. I think he's okay.
Okay, he'll be fine. So it'll probably be a Niners win. But, the scheduling, we don't you and I take scheduling very seriously.
Yeah.
You looked at Minnesota's schedule in the first 6 weeks. You're like, oh my God, they could go 0-6. Now you're 2-0. Shit, if you go 3-3, the back and the middle of that schedule for Minnesota, Detroit doesn't look nearly as good. Chicago, we don't know what we're getting.